Hey friends, Sam Haymart for Test Driven TV. Today we're test driving the 2015 Audi A3 2.0T Quattro. It's all new for this year and just one step up from the base of the Audi brand, which is the 1.8T front-wheel drive model. Now, there are a few competitors to this car, the Mercedes CLA class and the BMW 2 Series, but I'll tell you right at the outset, I really don't consider that BMW that big a competitor because it is a rear-wheel drive car and also only available in a coupe. But I was lucky enough this year earlier to drive the Mercedes. So as we test drive this today, I'll be able to give you a pretty good idea of how I think the Mercedes CLA and this car compares. The Audi A3 sedan is the first of an entire family of models which will include the Cabriolet and high-performance S3 sedan. More models are coming, including a 5-door Sportback, TDI, and e-tron plug-in hybrid. It's built upon the same new modular architecture shared with the 2015 Volkswagen Golf family, with all new styling for 2015. While evolutionary in Audi design DNA, the look is notably lower and sleeker than before. Thinner and more horizontally stretched xenon headlamps and LED driving lights go a long way to widening the look up front. Between them is Audi's now trademarked single-frame grille. At the rear, newly designed LED tail lamps also contribute to a more planted three-quarter view. Standard on our 2.0T sedan is the 17-inch 5-star design wheels mounted up with 225/45 all-season tires. The cabin of the A3 is everything you come to this brand for. There's standard leather seats with the driver getting 12-way power adjustments, the passenger adjusting manually. Both offered up comfort and support that well impress regardless of how they're adjusted. Standard equipment overhead is what they call a panorama glass sunroof. Don't let the name fool you, however, it's not a full-length panel, but is larger than the standard sunroof we normally expect to see. Ours had the $500 cold weather package, which heats those front seats as well as the side mirrors and windshield washer nozzles. Also optioned inside was the aluminum trim package with the genuine article on the dash and doors for another $450. I really like the clean design of this interior. So many of these cars in the luxury class, they want to dazzle you with a lot of infotainment, a lot of devices, a lot of buttons, a lot of controls, all packed into this space here, which is pretty cool sometimes, but it's also nice to have this really clean, simple look. You actually get in here at first and you think there's something missing, and the radio controls are all right up there in that screen. Down here on the console you've got the MMI control devices, and it actually works very well. There is a bit of a learning curve to figure out how to do it at first, but once you get past that, it really does work awesome. The other thing I really like is if you get everything set up here the way you want it and you don't want to look at that screen, you can actually come over here and put it away. And so it really gives you this nice clean look. It's just a nice simple ambiance. We did have the $1,900 version of the infotainment program, which included navigation with voice control and a single CD player. It also had satellite radio and Bluetooth capability. I was a bit surprised, however, that an iPod interface was an additional $350. Space and comfort is more than adequate for the front passengers as well as in the back seat. Even though the roofline is lower than some, headroom even with my cowboy hat on was never an issue. Trunk space is also not bad at all, improved over last year's A3. I've always been a fan of Audi's interior, so it's not hard to impress me when I get into one of their cars. But this one, even though it is a base model, it has the same level of quality and fit and finish that I've come to expect from the brand, even in their larger, more expensive cars. And that's everything from the touch of the materials to the feel of the controls that just have this Swiss watch accuracy to them. And everything looks expensive and it feels expensive. And that's really, again, that's what you come here for when you buy a German sedan. Under the hood is Audi's latest generation of their 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine, which now sports direct fuel injection. Consequently, the engine is a bit noisier and coarse at idle, but remains smooth and refined later in the rev range. It's available only with an S-tronic 6-speed dual-clutch automatic, or more rather, a robotic manual transmission. At least for now, it's the only box offered. A manual transmission is not available. Power, of course, goes to all four wheels through Audi's proven Quattro system. Power from this 2-liter engine is actually pretty good for its size, 220 horsepower, and published reports say it'll accelerate from 0 to 60 in 5.8 seconds. And that it does. The only area where I've been able to find a little bit of a complaint with this is that there's a bit of a drivetrain lag, and I don't mean turbo lag. That's something entirely different, and it doesn't have that. By drivetrain lag, what I mean is there is a delay between the time you put your foot on the gas and the computer processes that with this transmission and actually delivers what you asked for. Case in point, go. See, there's about a second there. You will get used to that driving this car, and a lot of other cars do have that, but it just seems pronounced here. It's just something that if you own this car, you'd want to always make sure you account for that extra second delay. If you're going to pull out in front of somebody and pass, if you're going to dart out into traffic, you want to make sure that you've given that extra second space for anything you're going to do. Aside the drivetrain delay, the transmission itself works exceptionally well, as I've come to expect from Audi. Its shifts are quick and crisp, particularly when using the shifter manually. Conspicuous in their absence were steering wheel paddle shifters, however. Driving this car on a back road is everything you expect from a German sedan. It's got that nice, solid, rubberized, vault-like feel. The steering is nice and communicative. It's well weighted. And it really responds well to your inputs. And the best part about it is it just really invites you to play. So many cars, even when they have sporting intentions, they just really don't want to do it. And that's the feeling they give you. But this car, it's like a happy puppy that wants to go play. The 2015 Audi A3 2.0T starts at $32,900. However, ours was optioned up to $36,645, including destination. We observed 29 miles per gallon combined this week, 2 miles per gallon more than the window sticker promised. The Insurance Institute for Highway Safety awarded the 2015 Audi A3 its coveted Top Safety Pick Plus designation. This was due both to the fact it achieved good ratings across the board, including the new small overlap test and the availability of crash prevention technology. You know, I think the big takeaway with the Audi A3 this week is that if you buy into this car as the base model for the Audi brand, you get all of the attributes of the Audi brand that you'd expect to find in their larger and more expensive models. I'm talking about that great interior, the way it feels when you drive it, and the performance. You're not going to be disappointed or feel like you got into the cheap seats like some of the competitors' base level models. And so it goes on my I'd buy it list for 2014. I like it that much. Now, the only area I really found complaint with was that little bit of a drivetrain lag it has when you put your foot on it right from a stop, but I think that's something they probably could program out if they chose to. So this week I give it 4.5 out of 5 stars. I'm Sam Haymart for Test Driven TV. I hope you enjoyed the ride.